This old saw I'm going to show you is one of my new favorite weapons. Got a video about that too. Okay. I'll tell you, some people use Raker gauges. They try to get the Rakers all exactly right. I don't mess with that. I tell you, I do it kind of by look and by feel. I just kind of get down next to the chain, try to see how much the Rakers are sticking up. This is almost a brand new chain, so really doesn't have to have much done, if anything. But I tell you, I don't use any guide. I just totally freehand it here on the bench vise. What I have here is a CAD system, and I have parts generated in the system. I have essentially a brand new cutter, a round filed full chisel chain cutter, and I have the file shown. In the middle section here, I have the same type cutter, but this is simulating a cutter that's worn a little bit over the new one. You can see that the rear of the cutter is a little shorter. So it's been filed back after significant wear. And on the left, I have an assembly with a file and both parts in the assembly. Okay, so anyway, the point I'm trying to make with this assembly is that both parts are in the assembly, and you can tell that though the cutters are different, the Raker is identical on both of them. Okay, there's the new one, and here's the old one. I can lay my hands on the vise, and I don't really need any other sort of guide. So this works out good for me. By the way, this is a full skip chain, so there's plenty of room for the file in here between teeth. This is a smaller saw with a nice 3/8 full skip chain. It's a strange setup for 48cc saw, but it really works great. So, good thing about full skip too is you got fewer of these to work with. Maybe you have to do them more often, but that's all right. There you have it. Okay, we'll go back to the right. Here's a new cutter. I'm going to turn off the file. And I'm going to turn on a plane that indicates the Raker height. The front of that Raker is even with that plane, and it has a relationship to the cutter, to the working corner here. Same with this one in the center, the worn part. I'm first going to turn off the file, visibility of the file. I'm going to turn on the Raker plane visibility. And again, if you could measure the height, they would be different. In the assembly, you can see that they're overlaid. This assembly here on the left, you can see the parts are overlaid. But in the image in the center and on the right, you can tell as the, well, let's go back to the one in the center. As the cutter is sharpened, you can tell that since there's an angle here, this top plate angle, as the cutter is sharpened, it not only goes back, but the working corner goes down. So the relationship to the Raker is that the Raker height is essentially raised when you sharpen the cutter. So just to show you here, let's take an actual measurement. We'll go into the software here, and we will measure from this top of this raker to the working corner. In this case, it's a height of 0.17. You can see it here barely. 0.17 inches. And for comparison, this one in the middle, if you take the same measurement, the top of that raker to the working corner, let's see if I can select it. Measure from the raker. Oh, come on now, buddy. Okay. Go to inspect. Okay. Now we'll measure. Okay, we'll measure this worn cutter from the top of the raker to the working corner. You can see it measures 0.097 inches. So anyway, you can see that even though they start off identical, when they're sharpened, that height effectively changes. So as the cutter wears, the takeaway here is as the cutter wears, a person has to file down the rakers to compensate in order to keep the chainsaw cutting the same way as it did when it was new. That's one reason to file the rakers. The old eyeball method. Look at the chain, feel how it cuts. If the saw is running kind of wide open, not really cutting, if it takes a lot of pressure to cut and you know the cutters are sharp, you can try knocking the rakers down just a couple of strokes. Go from there. Another reason to follow the rakers is whatever type species wood you're cutting. If you happen to have soft wood that you're cutting, you can go ahead and file the rakers down a little bit more to let your cutters take a little bigger bite. This only works to a point, and after a certain point you can overwhelm the power of your saw, bog the saw, and then it won't actually cut as well, and you can actually cause other problems with the saw. If you take them down too far, you can't put the metal back. But if you leave them conservatively filed and you keep the cutter sharp, it'll cut. You can apply a little more pressure if need be sometimes. It's good, I think, to keep the saw in a comfortable RPM range for maximum power. And also, there's something else that RPM does that has nothing to do with the engine. It has to do with lubrication of the chain. If you keep the RPMs up and the pressure, cutter pressure low, you've got better oiling because the chain's moving faster. More lube on the chain is better for the chain. More lube carried by the chain to the bar tip bearings is also good for the bar tip. Don't get too worked up about the rakers. I don't think it's all that important. I think eyeballing is good enough.